And this is Esther Sims, maiden name Esther Reed. Go ahead.
I am Esther Reed Sims. I was born in 1923. I'm 84 years old. And as far as I know back on my father's side of his ancestors, he came from the Creek tribe. And my father's grandfather was Daniel Reed, and Elizabeth Reed and Harding Reed was Daniel's father. And Daniel was my grandfather's father. Daniel, and he was, that was Jim Reed. His brothers was Walter Reed, Wesley Reed, and his sisters was Rose Reed. And my grandfather was Jim Reed, and my father was born from Jim Reed. Jim Reed was his father. And that's been a long time ago, and there isn't too much I remember about the tribe.
What was your father's name?
So, Frank Reed.
Frank Reed.
Was my father's name. So, from there, I guess that's about all I know about the Reeds family, where they came from, the ancestors. That's as far back as I know. It's Elizabeth Reed and Harding Reed.
Want to name your brothers and sisters?
And now on my mother's side, she was a weaver. And shall I say, she was an illegitimate kid.
Illegitimate?
And her father's name was Dave Weaver. And her mother's name was Eller Weaver. So, my mother didn't have no whole sisters and brothers. She just had half sisters and brothers. And her half sister was Lou Eller, which married I don't remember his last name. And Esther also was another one of his sisters. And P, well, we used to call her Aunt P. And her real name was Louisa. So, that's about all I know about them. I know we had aunts and uncles, and Aunt Melissy, Aunt Julie, Aunt Daisy, Uncle Bob, and all of them was weavers. But children don't notice that too much, and I was very young back them days. And I don't know too much about the heritage of my mother or father.
You want to name your brothers and sisters?
Who are your brothers and sisters? Go ahead and name
my brothers and sisters was Erie Coteller Reed. My oldest brother's name was Jeff Raymond Reed. My next brother's name was Frank Jr. Reed. My next sister's name was Ophelia Jane Reed. And my next brother's name was Luther Oliver Reed. And my next brother's name was Isaiah Reed. My next brother's sister's name was Pauline Reed. Polly Ibrahim Reed. and Molly Naomi Reed. They were twins. And the next one was Solomon Reed. That was the youngest one of them. And that was my family, my immediate family.
Tell me what you remember about Creasy Reed.
Creasy Reed? I don't know too much about Aunt Creasy. All I know is I saw her when I was a kid several times when I was back there, when I lived back there. I saw her several times, and lots of more of them that we called aunt and uncle and stuff, but, children really don't remember that much from, they don't think about, who's who. It doesn't matter with them.
Now, where was that? Where was that where you grew up and where you were born?
Well, I lived in McIntosh, Alabama. I lived in Calvert, Alabama. About the two places that I know. I went to school in Shady Grove, Alabama. And I went to church, Sims Chapel, and Reed's Chapel, and, well, all around through there, the little churches they had, and brush harbors, little things they had stuck up like lean-tos or churches. I'm telling it like it is.
Tell it like it is, Grandma.
When were you born? What day were you born?
What?
The day you were born, March 9th.
I already said it,
You just said the year.
that I was born in 1923. And I'm 84 years old. I already said
March 9th, right?
And I don't know if there's anything else I think of. I don't mind saying it, and if somebody wants to hear it.
Well, tell me what you remember about the folks coming in and taking your land.
Oh, well, I know that when I was a small child, I know that they were fighting with my grandfather. Somebody, the people around there wanted to take the land from all the Indian people in the tribe. So they just would come to whichever they wanted, whichever place they wanted. The tribe had built log cabins and had cleared the land and had little farms going. So they would just come and run them off and keep the animals, the cabins, and everything they had. Just run them off walking on the, They had nothing. They sent them away with nothing.
Now, was that Choctaw land?
That was Choctaw land. And there wasn't nothing anybody would try to do about it or anything. I don't know who's the ones that taken it or what. So, them days they treated the tribespeople really bad. And whoever wanted something they had, they just took it away from them, and that was it. And nowadays, I imagine they're still doing the same thing. Seems like to me, that's what they're doing. Because nobody, all the higher-uppers, the ones that has say-so, wants to keep the tribe out of everything so that they'll have more leeway to do what they want to do with the land and everything else. So I don't know what's going on, and that's about it. All I know.
So, your father, Frank Reed, was Creek,
Yeah, he was Creek.
and then your mother was Betty Weaver,
Betty Weaver.
and she was part Choctaw.
She was Choctaw.
Okay.
and my father was 3/3 of an Indian, a Creek Indian,
3/3 or
Yeah.
3/4? Was it three?
a three, something like that, 3/4 or 3/3,
3/3 is
3/4.
yeah, it would be
Yeah.
3/4 because 3/3 is full blood.
Well, I have an affidavit stating that with someone that grew up with him and knew him,
Okay.
and it was signed before the no Republican.
So,
So,
do you want to go ahead and give your will and statement on what you want to happen once
Huh?
you? Do you want to go ahead and give your will and statement on what you want to do with your belongings when you're
Oh.
gone?
well, I asked the Sims. I'm 84 years old, and I don't imagine I'll be around too much longer. So I want to leave my 3-bedroom trailer house and all the belongings. When I pass on, I want to leave it to Frankie Gillespie. That's my daughter.
What about
And-
your van?
That's it. That's all
Okay.
I wanted to say.
So, the trailer and
Huh?
what about your van out there?
No, I gave my van to Frankie.
Okay.
It's hers now.
Um,
So many of them told me that while I was sick that I said she can have it.
Well,
So
you can
I-
change that now.
can you tell me how you ended up coming to California?
Well, we were just trying to find a better place to live, and my oldest brother had been out here, and he saw all the work that was going on that poor people could do, women and children and men, and earn a better living than back there. So he wanted us to move out there, and he had one of these big, huge Willis cars at the time. So they got a trailer together and loaded all of the personal belongings that we had, which wasn't very much, the most important ones, and we wound up in California.
Mm.
Different tribes went different ways into different states. I mean, different little bands of the Choctaws
You could say the name of your
went
kids.
to different states, you know.
Yeah.
Some went to New Mexico, some California, some Colorado, and so forth, you know.
Well, how about
The names of your kids.
go ahead and name your kids and
Huh?
go ahead and name your kids.
And my children, the oldest one, Paul Sims. The next one is Betty Virginia Sims. The next one is Dorothy. Now I can't even think of the middle name. Bernadette. Dorothy Bernadette Reed. Sims. The next one was Frankie. Just plain Frankie
Sims.
Sims. The next one was Jesse Allen Sims. Then the next one was Tanya Sims. And
That's all.
And
I had 7 children.
and who's your husband? Go ahead and name who your husband was for.
Charles Francis Sims.
I guess just for the record, since my voice is on the tape, who am I?
And this voice is my grandson sitting over here, Jesse Allen. Are you a junior?
Yeah.
Jesse Allen Sims, same as his father,
Yeah.
Junior.
Yeah.
And the woman's voice is.
And the woman's voice is.
Now,
Who am I?
who are you?
Yes.
You're Frankie Sims.
You just want it for the recorder.
You are Frankie Sims. I already said that.
Did you, when you were a small child, do you ever remember playing games and things like that in
Yeah,
Alabama? Do you remember when you were a child playing games like stickball or anything like that when you were living in Alabama?
Do I remember?